I'd like to call to order the May 4th, 2022 meeting of the Clearwater Downtown Development Board. I'd like everyone to silence your telephones and to cease private conversations at this point. I'd like to remind the DDB members to lean forward and speak clearly so that the microphone can pick up your voice. And we will begin by having our members introduce themselves. But first I'd like to welcome back Lena Teixeira from several years' absence, but she's back as our ex officio member. So welcome back and congratulations on your seat.
I told you I'd be back.
Yes, you did. So we'll begin on my left.
Raymond Casano.
Festus Pobeni.
Paris Morphopoulos.
Keenan Kinsel.
Terry Nowitzki.
Lena Teixeira.
Mark Bunker.
Great. So we'll begin by taking up the item 2, the minutes of the April 6, 2022 meeting. Does anyone have any corrections they would like to request? Okay. I'd like a motion to adopt the minutes of the April 6, 2022 meeting.
Motion to adopt.
Okay. Motion by Terry, seconded by Ray. Do we have any discussion of the minutes? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It appears unanimous. Okay, item number 3, citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. Please, if there are any, please limit your comments to matters that are relevant to the DDB district. If it's an item that's already on our agenda, hold your comments until that agenda item is called. Speakers must identify themselves for the record, and there will be a time limit of 3 minutes of public comment. Are there any citizens that would like to address us today? Yes, please come up.
Hello, I'd like to say good evening to all board members. My name is David Walton. I'm going to be working with the Nash Keys. You might know my partner Tony. He usually comes here and speaks to everybody about things that are going on. I'm going to be operating manager. I'm sorry. Where's the microphone so I can?
Sorry.
Yell at us. Yes, so I'm also working with a nonprofit organization. The name of the nonprofit organization is Starry Night Events, and the focus of our organization is to kind of bring about camaraderie and bring about a little cultural diversity, and also just bring back like the feel of the rich cultural music history that Clearwater once was, as from hearing from people that are locals and are familiar with, you know, some of the local acts that have came out of here that have played all throughout Pinellas County, you know, St. Petersburg. I have a group. The name of the group is the New Rulers. They play a diverse range of music as far as soul, funk. They'll even play some of the fan favorites that people know well, and know some of the fan favorites that people know and are used to and love to sing along to. And that's just a brief introduction. I think I spoke with Eric Santiago and Howard about making it happen. They sent me a little information, and I just wanted to come up here and introduce myself and my company.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks for coming and seeing us.
Appreciate it.
Okay, any other citizens to be heard?
My name is Kelly, and I have a blog called Colorful Clearwater. I was approached by Sheila Neisler about possibly doing a video for the Pirates Party on the Rocks, and I said I'd be happy to. I'd love to do it for free, provided I had credit at the end on the video. So I did a couple of videos, and I gave all the materials to the lady in charge, and she cut off my credits. So the whole point of me doing this video was to create a portfolio so that I could propose other videos. I thought it might be nice for me to do videos for the various businesses downtown, you know, maybe behind the scenes, post online, because the blog is picked up by Newsbreak and it ranks number 26 in this whole state. So I'm looking to do more to help out, but I was just a tad bit annoyed that my credits got cut off. And it turns out that there was a budget, $600 for a video $600 for a photographer, and don't know where that money went, but it didn't go to the videographer. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you.
Howard, maybe that's something we could look into, just to see what happened there.
Well, as far as the party powers, we're just reconciling their expenses. I received a final receipt from them today, so I'm in the process of going through that, so I can provide an update at the next board meeting.
Very good. It would be good to get an update on what occurred there. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Are there any other citizens to be heard? Okay, we'll move on. New business. The March 2022 financial statement, Howard, can you give us, can you take that up with us?
Good morning, DDB, or excuse me, good evening, DDB. Got the time mixed up, trying to get ahead of myself. Howard Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the Community Redevelopment Agency. So for this item is to request approval of the March 2022 financial statements for filing. Funds spent in the month of March total $18,107.33, which was provided to you as board members for review as part of your update that was sent on April 28th. With that, the DDB's current ending balance for your budget is $516,013, and as of April 19th, 2022, the DDB has allocated $163,184.75 of their marketing line item. The remaining balance in that budgeted line item is $86,815.25. And as of April 19, 2022, the DDB has allocated $0 for their business assistance as well as their policy and project work line items. So under the business assistance line items, the remaining balance for that is $200,000. And under the policy and project work line, the remaining balance of that is $27,550. Based off of do you all have any questions regarding that, regarding your current budget?
I just have a question on the numbers that the last two numbers you just gave out.
Yes.
I don't see those numbers on the statement. I'm just wondering, the earlier numbers were exactly as what the statement says, but for total business assistance, it has $218,950 right now, right? Am I reading it correctly?
So under business assistance, let me make this a little larger.
Oh, I'm looking at the monthly one.
So
not
under the
annual
business
one.
assistance grant, totally what you have in there is $200,000. So if you look at line 20 in column C, it will show you right here where the $200,000 in that budget line item is.
Okay.
And in order to be able to make your PDF larger, you can click on the plus or minus arrow, or you can increase the percentage by clicking the percent, bringing it down, and you could increase the size. So in column C, line item number 29 is your budget amount of $200,000.
Okay, my Legistar isn't working anymore. Yeah, I opened up the March one, but not the one that shows the year-to-date months. Anyway, I'll look at it and I'll call you if I have specific questions. Okay. Any questions from anyone?
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any citizen comments on the financial statement? Okay, I'm looking for a motion regarding adopting the March 2022 financial statement for filing.
I move we adopt it. March.
Okay, we have a motion by Ray. Do we have a second?
Second.
Terry seconds. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Okay, we're moving on to item 4.2, and this is an update on the City of Clearwater improvements for downtown. And I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our new city manager, John Jennings, for the first time to the Downtown Development Board. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. I have actually been here before. I did
Oh, I
give
must have missed that meeting.
you didn't want to be here when I was here, apparently.
Okay.
So. But no, I've been to the board, and it was more of a kind of an introduction to all of you. But really what I'm doing tonight is kind of coming back and wanting to talk about the amazing progress that we are making as the city in the downtown. As you may know, as I think you know, the CRA, I had requested that the CRA put a new position as an event manager exclusively for the downtown. And so that will be coming to the city council, the CRA board meeting at the next meeting, which is in a couple of weeks. In addition, I have split up our event staff for the city. We are going to have dedicated event staff for the downtown area, from Crest Lake Park down to the beach. And then the rest of our event staff will also be working in the outer regions, in the neighborhoods and so forth. So as I've been discussing with the members of the city council, we do, if we are to be expected to do a lot of different things and new things, we do need to have the personnel to be able to do that. We cannot continue to be asked to do more with less or what we have currently. So in my budget that I'll present to the city council, there will be new positions. I will be bringing back the old neighborhood liaison positions, which I think are critical for our city. But in addition to what we're doing, we're focusing on the downtown. So with the event manager, one of the things that I have heard loud and clear is that we have made it difficult, frankly, for organizations and groups to do events here in the downtown. We have somewhat onerous requirements. And so to that end, I am recommending that we're going to eliminate the VTRs for events, particularly in this particular part of the city, actually across the entire city, sorry. We'll be also providing a lot more support from the city perspective. So if somebody comes to you and wants to do an event, they're looking for funding, the city wants to be a partner with them. We don't want to be seen as the difficult party. And so the other component of that, in talking with Ruth Eckert and others about like Blast Friday, the expense of public safety has risen to the point where they really can't do what they've done in the past. I've spoken with both chiefs. We are no longer going to be requiring such a high level of expense for our events going forward. And so there's, I think we're making significant progress to be able to reactivate the downtown the way in which it needs to be. In working with Amanda and Matt and others, we are looking at the probability of building some kind of a modified stage on Cleveland Street, for artists to be able to utilize. So we're in the kind of initial design phase of that, and I think that we will, of course, come back and share that with all of you. As you may have heard at the last council meeting or council work session, we have begun the discussion on the Bluff properties. The intent, as long as the council approves it, is to go to referendum this November. There is significant interest in this city. It is actually something that I feel very blessed to be in this moment and in this position because of the fact that there is such interest. And I think we would be neglecting our responsibilities, if you will, if we kind of continue to wait and wait and wait. And that is something that, as the city, and particularly city manager, I'm pushing the envelope on a lot of different things in order to move us forward. So we are actively negotiating. I can't really get into the details because we're in negotiations. A parking solution for Imagine Clearwater. That project is still on schedule. We expect that to open in June of next year, 2023. We are already planning a series of events that would lead up to July 4th in 2023 as kind of the large opening for the park. One of the frustrations with the supply chain issues is we still do not have our bollards in. I started in November, and that was one of the first things I asked to move forward. Staff has done a fantastic job of moving forward, but they're on a ship somewhere in the Pacific, and so we are eagerly waiting for the bollards and the corresponding planners to arrive. The other thing is that there has been some public discussion, newspaper articles and so forth, about the work I've been doing with the Church of Scientology and the parishioners. That work continues to move forward. I'm very pleased that in recent months, the parishioners and church leadership has agreed to kind of move forward with the 500 block in terms of restoration of two significant pieces of property. In recent weeks, probably a month ago, church leadership agreed to move forward with the 400 block. And so there is significant progress being made. You may have seen the signage in the windows and so forth, so there's a lot of really good things happening there. And finally, because this is her last DDB meeting, I wanted to just a special mention of Amanda Thompson. Amanda is a great gift to the city, and she has been for many years. We have been very, very fortunate to have her leading the CRA. I know from my perspective that I'm certainly going to miss her, not only her professional capacity, but her as a warm, very caring human being. Thankfully, she has agreed to stick around, though, for a project, which the Bluff Properties. She is going to serve as a consultant to the city to work with us to get the Bluff Properties timeline and project moving forward in order to meet the deadlines that we have to meet over the course of the next several months to get that on the ballot in November. So with all of that said, I come before you seeking a stronger partnership. I believe that it is, having had an experience with a DDB-like organization in my previous position, when we work closely together, we can get so much more done. And so I think that what you may see coming from the city are direct requests and or recommendations for things in which we can do together to maximize the opportunity. I recognize that you're an elected body, but that doesn't prevent the city from coming and requesting either assistance or partnership or your direction. So that to me is one of the most important aspects of really reactivating our downtown is to, and we have so many things, lighting, there's new lighting, there's all kinds of, hopefully you've seen the beautification efforts that we've been making with the plantings and so forth, much more of that to come. So with all of that said, I just want to thank Amanda for all of that you've done and will continue to do. We will certainly miss you. And also that you will continue to see me requesting your help, your partnership, and your support with things that we would like to do together with you. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, or you could throw me out.
Does anyone have any questions, Festus?
Yes, thank you so much for
PTR.
everything you've done, and I do I agree with you. Amanda's been amazing. My question for you is, so far since November, how's any traction you've had in terms of attracting retail and also office tenants? How's that been so far?
Yeah, there is significant, and not just office or retail, there is significant interest. Having spent most of my adult life in Boston, I have a lot of relationships in the bioscience industry and kind of life sciences, if you will. And so I have been pitching Clearwater as their southern campus. And so that is garnering some interest. Of course, we need to really, with the possibility of the county moving out of the downtown and that opportunity that would present itself to be able to diversify our economic base, you know, from say just tourism or the service industry, if you will, that we could really get those type of 21st century positions in our city, regardless of where they're located. That is kind of the hyper focus. In working with the Church of Scientology, they have engaged a well-known broker out of Tampa, and that person or that company is engaging in direct discussions. We don't play a role in that because either the parishioners own the buildings or the church owns the buildings. But there are several well-known retail, restaurant, other type of like bookstores, things like that, that have been, that I know that their broker has discussed our downtown with. So there is that effort that's going on. And, you know, it's one of the things that we talk about all the time as to whether the city should be, you know, purchasing land, available land, and of course aggregating that for larger developments, which is something that we certainly will be looking at even outside of the CRA. So, so there's a lot of really, really good opportunities that's coming very shortly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you said BTR. I didn't know what that
Yeah. Business tax receipt. So I think that's, isn't it? Okay, that's what it is here. Okay, I just want to, sometimes my mind goes back to Maine. So essentially, it's been an onerous responsibility for someone who wanted to do an event. They got to come and they've got to apply. You know, there's a lot of hoops that we've made people jump through in order to do things. And really what we're focused on is simplifying any process, streamlining to be much more efficient, but also change the perception of the city. You know, we should not be seen as an obstacle. We should be seen as a partner, and that is really the. I don't blame staff. I mean, staff does what they're asked to do. It's just those of us in like someone in my position or the council. I mean, we have the ability to be able to kind of change that process, particularly me on the operational side. So we want to, if we're serious about activating the downtown, which we are very serious about getting things going again down here, we have to make it easier for people to be able to work with us and not make it costly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
I was just going to say I'm very pleased to hear your comments about the adding event staff dedicated to our downtown and to remove some of the perceived obstacles, lower costs for events and so on. And yes, we will be very happy to partner in greater depth with the city in as many ways as we can. We've, I think Amanda helped that process begin when she arrived, and we've had a much more cooperative and much more successful partnership than we had prior to that. And I can just see it continuing from here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for allowing me to stand before you, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4.3. Howard?
Good evening again, Board. Howard Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the Community Development Agency. The purpose of this item is to discuss the upcoming funding of the Jolly Trolley Coastal Route, which is operated by Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority, and their new 3-year initial term agreement with a 2-year extension with a negotiated rate for the fiscal year 2028 services. With that, in December 2018, the Downtown Development Board adopted a multi-year agreement with PSTA to support their operating costs of providing transit services along the coast of Pinellas County. The current agreement that's in place with a 5% annual escalation of base services costs will end this year in September of 2022. Prior to that agreement ending and approving a new agreement, the goal was to be able to bring PST to the table to be able to provide you all information and go over the initial funding agreement that will be coming up. And we want to do this more sooner than later. So with that, you all as a board will have an opportunity to be able to review it, ask any questions, and Cassandra can provide you all feedback. So to present the information for discussion, PSTA's Chief Development Officer, Cassandra Brocher, is here to be able to present. And I thought I would like to, right here behind me, call her up, and I got you right here. And here you go, you can just scroll down.
Okay, great. Is it technically evening or afternoon or morning? I've heard all three today. Hi, I'm Cassandra Borchers. I'm the Chief Development Officer from the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority. And as always, a real pleasure to be with you here tonight. The chair has heard me speak, I think this is my 8th time here, giving a presentation about the coastal route. For some of you, you've heard other presentations that I've given, and for some of you, it may be the first time. But it is a really great pleasure whenever I go to speak to a partner. The city manager talked about how important it is to be good partners, and we do value our partners at PSTA very much. And in this particular case, this service, you are one of very many partners with the cities of Dunedin, City of Tarpon Springs, and Pinellas County that support this service and have done so since its inception. So just for those of you who may know, we have another partnership with the Jolly Trolley of Clearwater, and they have provided beach services to the city of Clearwater for a number of years. And in 2010, we engaged them to start the coastal route. So this coastal route does connect all the way from the downtown Clearwater to Clearwater Beach, as well as up to Tarpon Springs through Palm Harbor and Dunedin. They also connect with other routes that the Jolly Trolley provides, including the North Beach route, which provides just on Clearwater Beach, and their South Beach route, which goes from Sand Key into the downtown. All of these services are very popular during spring break, and they also complement our Suncoast Beach Trolley, which also serves the same area. So for those of you who are new, we've seen many, many changes of the coastal route over the years. When it first started, it was only a 3-day service, and this was really to create an idea of a proof of concept. Would there be a demand for trolley services in addition to other bus services down the coastal and US Alt 19 into downtown? We later expanded that by consolidating some routes to 7 days a week, and then extended it over to the beach. I think this makes a great opportunity for a 1-seat ride from Tarpon Springs all the way through all of these communities into downtown as well as to the beach. This included a partnership with the city of Clearwater to create some new stops out at the beach. And I think having that 1-seat ride has been very successful for this route, in addition to the 7-day-a-week service. And you can see that in just the ridership alone, from the 3-day-a-week service in the early years to 7 days a week later on. Now we've had some dips because of COVID, but this route has remained generally pretty steady in comparison to the rest of the system. So it continues to be one of the best routes that we have here in PSTA. So this route for the ridership for fiscal year 22 is only through March, and so we do expect to exceed the ridership that we saw last year as we start to pull out of the COVID pandemic. The funding agreement that you have seen over the many years has a very small portion for the Downtown Development Board to contribute. as PSTA contributes the vast majority of the route services and the route funding needed. This has been a historical addition as far as going from the 3-day-a-week service to the 7-day-a-week service. As in the early years, we also had a service development grant from the Florida Department of Transportation. So with all of these changes in the partnerships and the contributions, we have tried to keep the partnership together, but also make sure that your increases are very small. And so we're asking for you to maintain the contribution of 1.4% of the total cost of the service, and in this fiscal year would be just over $20,000. This is a $2,000 increase over last fiscal year, just in case you're wondering. I could see it on your face, you were going to ask that question. This price also does not include what we do for spring break. We just concluded our spring break service park and ride. Again, that is a partnership with the city of Clearwater, where we each add services out to the beach, and we each pay 50% of those additional services. That does include some free stops, meaning that people can get on in the downtown area, park their car, get on the trolley services and our other services for free, go out to the beach and come back. I've also talked to the mayor at great length about the importance of connecting people out from the beach into downtown, especially as downtown changes and becomes even more exciting than it already is. This also includes our spring training services that we provide up in Dunedin. And so we do find some people coming from the downtown up to Dunedin. And when I was out at the beach for our spring break park and ride, I noticed that a lot of people were taking the coastal route and using it quite frequently, and so it's been a great success. So I think that's the conclusion of my presentation, but as always, I am ready to take your questions.
Terry, go ahead.
Yes, hi. Is there any cost to the rider to ride the Jolly Trolley?
Yes, there is, so that they follow our same fare policy. A single ride is $225, and a day pass is $5. There are half-price discounts for seniors, Medicare cardholders, and students.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? I just wanted to say that going back many years to when we first started this relationship, I was a little hesitant originally to get involved with public transit and to support it financially. I couldn't quite grasp its future potential, but I'm very pleased at the way it's turned out. And I'm proud that we've supported it all these years and that it's still going strong and doing better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Elise Winters, DDB attorney. How do you define fiscal year 23?
Our fiscal year is the federal fiscal year, so it begins October 1st.
Okay, so we're asking for fiscal year 23 would start October 1st, which is the end of our fiscal year, correct? Or beginning?
That would be the beginning.
Okay. So what you may be asking for is money that the next board has to approve, not this board.
This board would,
Okay.
Amanda Thompson, still the CRA director for 2 more times. So in the budget adoption, which would happen with this board in September, when it would be approved, that would allocate the funding that would start October 1st.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We're not making a motion for funding today, right? Yeah. Okay, any other comments? No. Well, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Are there any citizen comments regarding this item?
I actually wasn't going to speak today, but I figured I would speak just because the city planner came in and it's...
This is still on the same topic.
Oh, the same topic? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was there a moment to comment on that prior?
Citizen comments was at the beginning when the other person spoke. This is strictly on the PSTA discussion. Okay, anyone else to comment on the PSTA discussion? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to item 5.1, an update on DDB ideas to improve downtown Clearwater. Eric, if you will take the lead on that.
Eric Santiago, CRA, Public Relations and Programs Manager. At the last DDB meeting, we advanced two initiatives that we're going to be working on. So just providing an update on both of those initiatives. The first initiative is enhancements to the trail. So we have started discussions with different departments within the city and the county on how to tackle that project as the trail has lots of different ownerships involved, and we will be issuing proposals for design firms to look at enhancements on that project. So we are working on moving that forward. The other initiative is our new marketing program. For this, we wanted to get some professional advice and recommendations on how to proceed in developing a social media marketing program, and we reached out to someone very familiar and on the DDB, Keenan, asked him to put together just some ideas on how we could best develop this program and get some feedback on really what you want this program to be, as we're still kind of figuring out what it's going to look like to the user. So, Keenan?
Thank you, Eric. Disclaimer, I own no stock in any of these companies, just for transparency purposes. The numbers there represent the last year dollars that best I could find spent by people on advertisements. So those are the percentages of the gross sales or gross revenues of those companies. For example, 83% of Google's money there, the $2 billion, that was spent on click ads. All right, there may be a couple typos here, but $86 billion represents, that's 97% of Facebook revenue was click ads. So bottom line is we don't have a lot of billboards in Clearwater. This is the billboards that people are looking at nowadays. Right? So, for example, you have companies like Know4, a $1 billion unicorn downtown. They spend a large amount of money on advertising. I don't know how much, but a large amount. Auto Loop. I have a couple small clients. I have one that's relatively small, 30 employees in the downtown corridor. They drop close to 200,000 in Google ads a year, just to give you kind of an idea. So people are spending small fortunes to get attention through these platforms. So my idea was keep it simple. Don't pay marketing companies for their expertise. Don't pay marketing companies to run campaigns, but pay matching kind of an equivalent ad spend for people like Tony here and his friend who are opening Nash Keys. Maybe they're going to spend, I don't know what their budget is, but maybe they'll spend 10 or 20 or 50,000 in this type of advertising, and we could match up to a certain amount, which would give people half their cost per click if we're matching, and then it would give more reach for us downtown, and that either brings people to the dentist or to the auto mechanic or to the restaurant or wherever, or it might expand the company where they have more employees downtown. So I think it's a very easy no-brainer for us to funnel some of this money. We just have to make it known to the people that have businesses or want to have businesses downtown. So that's it in a nutshell, if you have any questions.
Do you envisage an upper ceiling on what each business would be eligible for?
Eric recommended it 1.2 million. I said maybe a little lower.
Getting down to earth?
Not really. The parameters are a little loose because we haven't ever had an ask for this. But I would say no less than 5,000 in ad spend, up to 20,000, something like that, to start. We have a pretty significant amount of money sitting in marketing that should be spent. So this could easily bring in the requests, which we'd see a direct impact for. We could categorize who would get it. Like I suggested, they're in business 2 years, but then as I re-looked at it, I thought, well, that's kind of arbitrary. They're just starting. They have a business in another city. So there should be some parameters so we don't just waste money on things that fail, right? But no, to answer your question.
Okay. Other comments or questions? I think when we first pitched this idea back when we were having our discussions, there was a number that I suggested at the time, but I don't remember what the net number was.
7,000.
Pardon me?
5,000 to 7,000.
5,000 to 7,000, okay. And, I think there should be an upper limit to what a company's qualified for, otherwise one entity might snag, most of the budget, and that wouldn't leave any room for anybody else, and we don't want to be, doing favoritism towards any, in large proportion to any one entity downtown. But, yes, a limit like that, that sounds good. I like that idea. It was mine. Okay, anything else? Okay.
I think the idea was we would just discuss it, and if you like it, then we could package it and call it something, right, here?
Yeah, I mean, what we were just looking for, if there were any other, as we're putting this, right now we're still putting the program together, so if there was any other thoughts or suggestions on how you'd like us to proceed with developing the actual criteria, the language, the amounts, this would be the opportunity to provide us with that feedback, so we can come back with an actual program that has some definition, and criteria for what we want businesses to actually do. So if there's, we can still do that without feedback, but if you have any things you want us to incorporate, now would be the time to let us know, so we're making sure that we're meeting your goals.
Well, just to start off the discussion, I would like to suggest that we have an upper ceiling of, say, $75,000 to $100,000 for the whole project, with $5,000 to $7,000 to any one entity, and that it be a 50% match of the 50% of their total spend reimbursed after the fact. So they'd have to invest it and then show us the paid receipts and then receive a reimbursement of half of their expenses, and strictly on on ad spend, not for services or consulting or anything like that, just actual clicks. I think that would pretty much cover it without making it overly complicated. There's no point in having it, and I think it should be anybody in the district, not necessarily a retail store, not necessarily a restaurant. I think anybody that, any business that wants to promote and is located in the DDB area should be eligible, unless somebody has other opinions on that.
Well, there may be events that do spend that are repeats, like the Pirates. They were doing social media advertising, so that may be something that would qualify also.
Well, my only concern there is if there's double dipping going on. If it's somebody that the DDB is funding, and then and giving them money for marketing, and then also rebating half of it, that seems a bit over. I don't think we want to do that.
So maybe we could then take this as an outline, come back with a more strict parameter program, and then fine tune it.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things for events, because you did mention that, is we can work with the event applications that we are receiving and looking more at their marketing budgets before we present them to the DDB, since at one of the last meetings it was mentioned that the Market Marie could have requested additional funding. So knowing that, we can kind of look at those individual applications and look at what is their marketing budget, and are they, could they be asking for more? Does it make sense? What are channels they're using, and kind of work with them a little more in that application process, specifically for the events. But keeping that grant different from this grant, since they're two separate programs. And
I think we should make it. I think it makes sense to have a clear distinction between the business marketing program, which is like established businesses that continue to operate, and events. If they need support for marketing, it should be asked for initially with their request, and not mix the two, because that would avoid the double dipping.
There also may be an opportunity for businesses that wouldn't mind being open about their financials. You know, they may not care, some of them, or some are already public, to find out, you know, in the corridor how much is actually being spent per year already in these various platforms. But I would have to guess it's rather substantial. And you know, it's being spent, so it's like you don't see it because there's no billboards, there's no magazine ads, but it's a massive amount of money pulling people and pulling the attention here. So then we could maybe track that growth if we're helping.
Okay, that's, I think that should give you something to flesh it out.
Thank you. We will have more information on both of these initiatives at the next meeting.
Very good. Okay, we'll move on to item 5.2. Thank you, Eric. Matt, if you would take this one.
Good evening, Board. Matt Jackson, CRA Assistant Director. Just want to provide you some updates that's going on. The first one is we're rolling out a placemaking and residential engagement grant program, the purpose of which is to support people who want to support and fund those who are interested in making a positive change through placemaking initiatives here downtown, the CRA. And what that kind of looks like is different projects that include art installations, working on parklets, improving, having park enhancements, community gardens, and then there will be different, 3 different levels of grants available through that program. Also, as the city manager mentioned, we are hiring a special events staff member to work on events specific to the CRA. These are CRA-led special events, not events for specific businesses. And I'll be presenting that before the CRA trustees at the next meeting on the 16th. And then last, at 703 Jones Street, which is a property just northeast of here in the CRA, we are presenting a vacancy reduction grant request for them at the next meeting. They want to bring in a arts technology hub. It's a fantastic company, the Arts District Live, where they mesh audio-visual, immersive museum style of programming, and they have just some fantastic presentation that they're going to be showing us. One of them includes integrating the largest sports memorabilia, I always mess that word up, collection, to where they're going to be integrating the collection into a display at the location. It's a very, very exciting project, and we're hoping it comes to fruition. That's all.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the chairman's report. Some events that are coming up. May 15th to June 15th, The World Within outdoor immersive sound installation featuring the natural sounds of the Everglades from sunrise to sunset at Gaslight Alley off the 500 block of Cleveland Street, so right downtown. Saturday, May 14th, the Market Marie. It's the 1-year anniversary of the market, and it's at Court and Myrtle. Saturday, May 21st, the Public Art Walk presented by Clearwater Arts Alliance. The docent will lead walking tours showcasing over 20 pieces of public art throughout downtown Clearwater. America's Everglades through the lens of Clyde Butcher. See the natural beauty of the iconic landscape photographer Clyde Butcher at the Clearwater Public Library. This free exhibit ends on May 31st. So make a point to review it before it ends. It's a once-in-a-lifetime exhibit. Okay, now for the full calendar of events of things that are happening in downtown Clearwater. DowntownClearwater.com is your resource for that. And with that, we'll move on to board members to be heard. Beginning on my left.
I'm real happy to see the city manager taking such initiative to help the downtown. It's really exciting for me. I'd like to thank Amanda, because I think if she comes back in 5 years, she will see what she started and what it's going to end up looking, and she's going to be very proud of that. So thank you very much.
First, I want to thank Amanda, and I wish you all the success in the next chapter of your life. And I also want to welcome Lena Teixeira. You're a great addition to the board. And I'm very pleased I'm excited to hear about the parking solution coming. As you all know, I'm always asking about that, so that's pretty awesome. So, and once again, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Great. Keenan?
Have fun in Georgia, Amanda. We're gonna miss you.
Terry?
I'm really excited to see us working together, more. That's been my hope and my dream, to see that happen, and I see it happening now, which is very exciting, because I think we can get things done and get things moving a lot quicker. So that's very exciting. Amanda, it's been so nice working with you, the short time I've worked with you, but we'll certainly miss you. And I would like to welcome Lena. It's very nice to have you here, and I look forward to working with you more in the future. And I'm also excited about the parking solution, because it's been a problem, and I look forward to that. That's all.
Very good. Lena?
Well, as promised, I'm back in a different capacity, but I'm back. As a previous board member, I can't help but feel a little bit of envy, not of the circumstances that brought to the end product, but because of COVID, everything came to a grounding halt. And now you find yourselves in an unprecedented situation where you have 2 years worth of coffers and it's May. And I'm envious of that. I wish I had that kind of money when I was on the board. I think this is a great opportunity for the board to shine and to be part in a very integral way of the revitalization of downtown. It's a great opportunity to be innovative, creative, and really show your leadership to those who've elected you. And I am very excited to see the more active partnership that I saw tonight between the city and the DDB with great ideas. And I'm very excited, and I look forward to seeing what this board can do in contributing to downtown.
Thank you.
On Monday night, Lena and I both attended the first presentation of a theater piece from Airman Theater. Tricia McDermott, artist from New York, is bringing her theater down here, and it was a very well-attended and well-received production. And it would be the first of many for her, and she's going to be applying for one of our grants for artists. And I encourage anyone else who has a project to also apply. The full presentation will be announced soon. Also, it was a very sedate, quiet house today, so we didn't really have a chance to applaud Amanda, but I'd like to do that now. It's been a joy working with you. Thank you so much. And talking with John Jennings and being there, I think it was yesterday when Congressman Christ was talking about the money that he brought here for Imagine Clearwater and for our police department. I'm really, really getting excited about how the downtown is going to boom in the next couple of years. It's a very exciting time, and I think John Jennings is doing a great job of goosing things and adding staff and actually getting the job done. So. A lot of good things coming.
Very good. And my final comments are, number one, congratulations and happy you're returning to us. I was very gratified by the updates and the comments from the city manager, and I think lots of good things can be done collaboratively with the city, and that we can wisely spend our dollars on accomplishing some things for the downtown. And lastly, as others have said, Amanda, you've been a treasure. I've been around here a long time, and I can tell you that what it was like before and what it is now and what it's been the last few years was night and day. You've made a huge difference to the downtown and to the functioning of the DDB. You've made our work much, much simpler, and it's been a pleasure personally working with you, and we wish you the best of luck in whatever you do next. Okay, and with that, at 6:25 in the evening, this meeting is adjourned.